All right, so thank you everyone for joining us tonight for our first TiE Tuesday of the year.
That's right.
Tonight we have two speakers presenting their company Purple Duck, sorry, marketing. So as usual, if you have any question, please use the chat box at the bottom of your screen. You can find the chat icon so you can chat to everyone, and the speakers can see your question. But anyway, we will make sure that all of them are answered by the end of the call. We will have about 30 minutes of presentation, 30 to 40 minutes of presentation, and then we will have Q&A for about 15 to 20 minutes. Don't hesitate to ask and talk. We'd be happy to have you talking directly to the speakers. The speakers will be sharing their contact if you need to contact them after the event. And what else? Did I forget something?
No?
I think that's it.
No.
All right.
Uh-huh.
So Sanjukta, Ram, you want to
Yeah,
say a word about TiE? Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Sorry. Please, if you can keep your, if you can keep, stay mute, all the time, so we don't have all the background sound. That's all I'm asking. Okay. And you can unmute when you have a question at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Sophie and Sanjukta, for putting this all together. And as Sophie mentioned, folks, this is the first event of the new year, 2021. How about that? We had a great 2020 in spite of the craziness of the year that we all went through. We did a great number of events and initiated a few new programs. So a lot of good reception and engagement from the community. And it truly has become global from a local organization to having a lot of activities around along with other chapters in the country and around the globe. It has been quite remarkable that way. So as usual, I'll just go through. A lot of us know each other, but there will be some new folks that will be joining for everybody's benefit and for posterity. We will go through a quick spiel of what we are all about. And as Sophie mentioned, we're getting this recorded so we can go back and refer to it later. So for those of you that are not quite aware, what is TiE? It's simply an organization devoted exclusively to the promotion of entrepreneurship in all its shapes and forms, across industries, across various stages. We work with firms, startups, mid-stage and late-stage firms, across all the stages, from initial incubation through the life cycle of entrepreneurship. And we have a number of different programs. And as I mentioned earlier, not only do you get connected with the ecosystem here in Dallas, Fort Worth area, but beyond around the country and the globe. Mentoring, coaching, funding, helping you grow are all the basic tenets of the whole organization. Just to get a quick glimpse of what all we went through last year. These are some key initiatives that are listed here that we have as our standard flagship initiatives, and then some new ones that we come up with every now and then. Every month on the last Tuesday of the month, we have the so-called TiE Tuesdays, which is an opportunity for startups like the ones that we're going to be hearing from today, where they come and tell us about what their project is all about, their company, and what the thesis is, and then have us listen to it and critique it, and have that be the funnel into our curation of different deals like that, and then for us to take it to the next level, for some of us to get more engaged in, to mentor, coach, fund, and be engaged in other ways with that particular company. So we had about 10 plus pitch events like that. As I said, the last Tuesday of every month, but we've had a couple of other events also on other odd days because of schedule reasons. And that, as I said, is a funnel for our TiE Ventures program, which allows us to pick a few of them that we take a more serious interest in. So if you look at it, last year we had about, actually this number is needs to be revised. We had close to 20-25 pictures, and that came down to about 6-7 that we took a more serious interest in, and some of them got funded, and some of us are involved quite heavily in some of those companies. So that's the first two here. And then the TiE Women Initiative got off to a great start with a local pitch event, the contest, the winner from which went and represented Dallas at a global stage in Dubai just a couple, 3 weeks ago, and did a phenomenal performance there, and got the exposure to a broad, big cross section of women entrepreneurs from around the globe. So that's a great initiative that we are again going to have some activity around this year. We're going to have a local Dallas women competition, TiE women competition, perhaps in the fall. The TiE program is a young entrepreneur program that is targeted at, it switched, targeted at high schoolers. We are in the 9th year actually this year. Over the years, we have graduated about 250 students. It's a 3-4 month boot camp type setting where the kids get to go through the entire journey from ideation to sales and marketing to prototyping to fulfillment, and then finally being able to put everything together and present to a panel of judges who will judge which of the 4 or 5 teams that we have every year will emerge the winner. And again, that team represents Dallas at the global stage. And every year we go to the global stage and get some kind of award or the other. Last year we got the best teamwork and the best elevator pitch and so on and so forth. We have other events. We have industry experts come and talk to us about their insights and perspectives and what can be expected in the coming year, coming decade, and what have you. Throughout these programs, we are also trying to emphasize our attempts and success in being able to reach out to a broader cross section of the community across different demographics. So we are taking it to the next level this year through the so-called TiE Access program, and basically providing access to entrepreneurship across different cross sections of society. All that were part of the reason of how we also got acknowledged as one of the most improved chapter last year. So we are pretty proud of that, and it's all because of all the work that has gone into this through the likes of some of the people on the call here, Sophie, Sanjana, Vinod, one of our charter members, Sunny, and a bunch of others, our core committee. So we are expecting more and more people to join and participate in this organization. It's a great organization to belong to, and there's a lot of benefits to be had, great people to meet. So I encourage you all to take greater interest. So again, this is just highlighting some of the key programs catering to every type of demographic. There's a charter membership for those of us that have businesses that want to give back, perhaps invest in a startup or two. So that's a whole membership initiative around charter membership. And then there's regular members. So all the details you can get from dallas.tie.org. Once again, I encourage you to get involved if you're not already. All the information is available on our site. We are getting even more active with social media and other types of reach out. So any questions, hit me up or one of the people on the call, Sanjukta, Sophie, and we'll be happy to give you the answers you need. So with that, I'm just going to stop and have Sanjukta introduce today's speakers to you, and then we will go through the rest of the session and come back and take question and answer at the end of the call. All right, thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Sanjukta. So we're gonna have Sanjana and Vishal talk about Purple Duck's marketing. And I actually know Sanjana from UT Austin, and we were in the same sorority. So yeah, so I'm excited for you guys. You guys can go and introduce yourself and start talking about it.
Alrighty, just give me 1 second and let's get this slideshow started.
Hi guys, it's so nice to meet you as Visal is pulling up the slideshow. Yeah, let me just once again reiterate my thanks for, Visal and mine's thanks for being invited to this type of a platform. It's really exciting for us to share everything that we've been doing with our company over the past 6 months, especially through, one of my former sorority members, or still really sorority members. So that's really great. Thank you so much, Sanjana, Ram, and Sophie for this opportunity. We're really excited to get started. So with that, let me introduce you to Purple Ducks Marketing. So as you guys know, Purple Ducks Marketing is our little startup in which we do digital marketing and digital marketing consultancy. So over the next 30 to 45 minutes, me and Visal would love to take you through all of the various aspects of Purple Ducks Marketing, how we started, who we are, and where we're going. So next slide, please. So yeah, that's just going to be our general agenda. We just wanted to lay it out here for you. So we're going to start off just telling you a little bit about ourselves and how we came to be. Then we really want to talk about our audience in general, as to who we're really targeting with all this, and then go into our offerings and what's coming up next. So before all that, I'm sure the question that most of you guys are wondering is, what is a purple duck anyway? It's definitely a weird name. I'm sure you haven't heard of it before. We've checked, it does not exist in the wild. It is a creation of our own. But basically, Purple Ducks Marketing is, it's an inside joke between Visal and me. Visal I've known for over a decade. And so over this summer, which I know is hard to believe because we're already very young, but yeah, so a decade of our young lives, we've known one another. And so over the past summer, as is true with many students and young professionals, Visal and I were unfortunately left with a little bit too much free time as our internships were moved to the following summer. So we knew we had all this great passion for marketing. We knew we had a passion to help others and startups with their goal and marketing journeys, but we just didn't know where to go. So with that, I gave Visal a call. So Visal, if you want to take the story from here.
Yeah, and hi everyone. It's again great to be here. And on that phone call, we talked a lot about the things that we no longer had, the memories from back in our middle school days, the great memories in high school, and our eventual departure to college. But while we talked about so many things that we didn't have now, like internship opportunities and time to spend with friends and catch up with friends that we now had been apart from for a very long time, we also realized that there was a lot that we did have. And when we look at what is it to be a Purple Duck and part of this organization, we really focused on our passions for our youth, for our friendship, and for creativity. And so overall, this is what the company represents. From the crown, we try to take ownership of our passions and really pursue them to the best of our abilities. The company itself is a manifestation of a friendship that's now going over a decade now. And it represents our endless pursuit to continue to be creative and to help those around us in whatever way possible. And so we will introduce the first of our ducks, Sanjana.
Yeah, thanks, Visal. So yeah, with all of that being said, over the course of the next 30 to 45 minutes, we're going to take you through how we really made each of those kind of founding values come to life. But before all that, let me just take an opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Sanjana Marepally. I'm one of the co-founders of this organization, like we said, just about 6 months ago. While I'm not obsessing over imaginary creatures such as purple ducks, I am a marketing major and MIS minor from the University of Texas at Austin at the McCombs School of Business. I am actually originally from New Jersey, like Visal, but was lucky enough to travel to the great state of Texas to get my education. And I'm so excited to be here and to be, talking with you guys in organizations such as TiE Dallas. And it's really such a beautiful state. So excited to be here. And now let me just give out Visal an opportunity to introduce himself as well.
All right. Yeah, hi everyone. Again, my name is Vishal, and I'm formerly the branding and operations director, along with being the co-founder with Sunny. And when I'm not obsessing over fonts, branding kits, websites, social medias, photography, and all my other weird technical interests, I'm a marketing major concentrating in business analytics at the Rutgers Business School. Proud to go to school in the great state of New Jersey. Have spent the past almost 14 years in this state after moving around a lot as a kid. So had a great time here. And again, it's so cool to participate in a TiE Dallas event. And I think it's the silver lining in all of this going on in the pandemic. We're more connected than we ever were before. So it's really cool to be speaking in a completely different time zone.
And with that, let me also introduce the kind of third big founding member of our team, which is our network of marketing specialists. So we also have an entire kind of team that helps me and Michelle run all of this, who is not on our call today, including Shristi, our content creator, Avni, our great HR director, and our customer success managers. But we also wanted to highlight a big part of what we do, and we'll explain a little bit more about this as we go into our presentation. But starting off, this is a big member of our team is our marketing specialists. So one of the main things that sets Purple Duck's marketing apart is that we have a network of around 30 marketing specialists who have a really diverse and interesting interesting set of talents when it comes to marketing, everything from SEO to logo design to website design to email marketing to anything else that you could possibly think of. And they range from all different levels of experience. And let me just now take a moment to give a shout out to Sanjana too, because she's joining our organization soon, or has joined it really recently. So we're really excited to continue to grow that network. And to really cater to every single company's unique experiences and needs in that way. Oh, Vishal, I think you're muted.
Yeah. Sorry, the pop-up menu was taking a second. All right. We talked about how from the very beginning, we set off on a mission to explore how we could take our passions and contribute to the digital space. Now, we realized very quickly that our passions clearly aligned with this particular space because the world of digital marketing is always growing, especially now more than ever. Over 50% of all purchases are made online. And of those consumers, 70% or more of them who have a good social media experience with this brand will recommend that brand to their friends and to other people that they know. And of those companies that are spending on marketing and putting themselves out there in this digital space, 75% of most marketing budgets are spent on some form of digital marketing, something that we're going to end up seeing on our smartphones, on TV, in our inbox. No matter the very different and diverse ways that exist, it clearly makes up a big part of what it means to be a company in the 21st century. Now, we also realized that small businesses in particular need marketing the most. And some of them may be those who have an interesting and unique product or offering, but at the end of the day, they could have one of those things, but still not know where to start when it comes to their marketing initiatives. At the same time, they could also have some sort of social media presence, but don't know really how to harness the power of that presence, the power of their following, and how to really convert their following into leads and eventually sales. And in another case, they can be unwilling to waste thousands of dollars on marketing or digital marketing, because in many ways and at many firms, these types of services can be very, very hard to access. And whether it be financial barriers or technical barriers, just for a lack of understanding, there are a lot of barriers to this accessibility, which I'd like to speak more about. And as a result of these high price tag and this oversaturated market of quote unquote experts, and it results to like an overall very overwhelming experience for most small businesses, because the market for this type of work simply just isn't catered to your everyday business. And so our mission here is to take our passions and then combine them through the work that we do at Purple Ducks Marketing to make it easier for small businesses of all shapes and sizes to be able to access digital marketing resources. Now, Sanjana is going to take you to the very beginning of that journey and take you through how we sort of approach this process.
Yeah, thank you, Visal. So, Visal did a really great job of setting up why we feel that this type of a company is necessary for the market as it currently stands. So now I just want to explain a little bit about how Purple Ducks Marketing really, approaches this type of business, specifically how it affects small businesses. So our main goal of where we wanted to start is with the branding journey. So the entire Purple Ducks Marketing concept and company is based off of the idea that every single startup and company in general goes through its own unique branding journey. So it starts with finding a voice, then reaching an audience, then evolving the brand and listening to the audience. So we believe that in one way or the other, every single company that invests in marketing, which is really every company in this that is in existence, goes through this process in some way. And so what we want to do is to make sure that we are meeting the client wherever they are within this process and helping them to kind of move forward. So let's go to the next slide and talk a little bit about how we do that. So our approach to how we make sure that we are meeting every single client wherever they are in their journey is what we have coined start to finish marketing. So start to finish marketing is basically the idea that no matter where someone is, like I said, within this overall branding journey, Purple Ducks Marketing is able to meet them at that journey and take them to the next steps. So something that you'll notice is like throughout our webpage and our branding, we talk about these kind of various pieces of the start to finish marketing journey. So starting off with new beginnings, it's kind of, starting off a company and not really knowing how much marketing you put in, what should the website look like, what should the logo look like, what should it represent. So if you need help with all those kinds of things, then Purple Ducks Marketing has all these great strategists that will be able to help you to really understand who your target audience is and how you should really unveil your company starting out to make sure that you are, kind of making a splash there. So actually, as an example that we'll talk about later on, one of our clients, Just Practice, is actually currently in the process of doing just that and is launched very recently. So we actually helped to take them through the process of launching on social media and launching on web pages so that they actually had an audience before they even launched as a company. The next thing is puzzle pieces. So here it's really about making one or two changes. So we've worked with a lot of clients in the past that you'll also see in our presentation that just needed a little bit of tweaking where it came to logo or just web page. It was just little things. We believe that there's little things that can be done to really reach your audience and hear it and have a more organic conversation with them. So that's that whole thing that we talked about on the last slide of evolving and having a conversation with your audience. Next is boots on the ground. For this kind of like part of the start to finish marketing process really has a lot to do with lead generation and really getting down into the analytics of everything. So while we do believe that analytics is necessary in every aspect of this, there comes a certain point where the brand starts to evolve or it starts to grow a little bit. I can tell you that Purple Ducks Marketing itself has reached that crossroad quite recently. And so really help in making sure that analytics and lead generation is at the helm of what we're doing at this stage. And lastly, we want to make sure that every company is reaching its full potential. So, we always think that there's room for improvement. That's kind of a big goal for us at PDM in everything that we do in the creative way that we reach out to companies and help them in the various marketing services that they need. So, I was talking to someone very recently, a potential client very recently, and he said, we're doing okay, but I think there's more out there. I have a sneaking suspicion that we could be doing better, that we could really be using this, $500 that we're putting towards marketing in a better way. What do you think? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And I, gave him all these great options as to what we can do. So similarly, we would love to take a look at any company and come up with new creative and different solutions to how they can really reach a full potential in terms of a digital marketing sphere. So that kind of breaks down our start to finish marketing services. And so we want to share with you a little bit about how we go about, really taking care of each of those steps with a few work examples. So with that, let's talk a little bit about PDM and what actually is happening. So, I was speaking with Ram yesterday and he made a great point. The proof is in the pudding. So this all sounds really great in abstract, in theory, but let's talk a little bit about what exactly it is that we're doing to make those things happen. So, as the slide rightly says, PDM does things just a little bit differently. So you'll notice as we go through the presentation that we have a lot of pieces that might sound very reminiscent to you when you have thought about marketing firms or digital marketing firms in the past. We have a lot of really great and accomplished people on this call, which is very exciting for me and Vishal. And I'm sure that in the marketing work that you have done in the past, you will notice a lot of these various things. But what the point we want to make to you in this next 30 to 45 minutes, or how much ever time we have left since we've started talking here, is that we really take a little bit of everything. So we want to hit that sweet spot of not only having a great network, but also giving you creative strategic options for all of your various marketing related problems. We want to also not only give you creative strategy and give you our great network, but we want to make it a personalized experience, because as we mentioned earlier, it's about an overall branding journey. It's not about just doing a logo and saying, here you go, thank you for coming. It's about really taking you through the whole process. And lastly, it's about taking our youth. Vishal and I made a couple of jokes in the beginning of our presentation about how we're very young and we've still known each other a decade. We do understand and acknowledge that we are quite young in this business, both as people and just in the business, but we think that that's a huge plus for us because we're not afraid to take any risks. So now we're going to go through and just talk about a couple of those things a little bit further.
Yeah, first and foremost, I think in my bio, I mentioned this and I'll say it again. One of my passions is the people that I've chosen to surround myself with. That's why I chose to go on this journey with my best friend in the first place. And I wanted to make sure that feeling that we had between each other, that was the same level of care that we would take with each and every one of our clients. And we saw that in alternative solutions out there in the world today, this is not a priority all the time, especially for small businesses. So let's start off with the first piece of the puzzle. Somebody who is going to be dedicated just to your specific project, your specific needs, and really is there to facilitate and maximize the value that PDM can bring to your brand. So that person is our customer success manager. And this person is going to sit down with you and understand your needs, really get a deeper understanding of where exactly you are in that journey, as we kind of spoke earlier. And based on where you fall on our various metrics of what services you'll need most, they will go into our network and speak with various marketing specialists and try to assemble the dream team for your specific project. And speaking of these dedicated marketing specialists, these individuals are out perfecting their craft and really getting better at what they do. And our ability to cater to clients of all sizes comes from the fact that we have marketing specialists who fall all along like the experience spectrum, some of whom are just as experienced as recent grads and stuff like that, whereas others are just as experienced as my parents with 20 plus years of industry experience in their respective fields. So that way we're able to cater at various price points to different clients, and no matter which sector and their size. And we want to make sure that these pieces of the puzzle are moving in the right direction and at the right speed. And you can get an assurance from us that you will have at least bi-weekly check-ins with your entire team. And that way you constantly know what's going on. And the customer success manager especially is available at all times and at your disposal to answer any questions you might have along the way. And At the end of it, these individuals are going to sit down with you to create a roughly 6 to 8 week long experience and personalized project that is specifically tailored to your preferences, the specific aesthetic that you want to achieve. And everybody is there with a common purpose and knows exactly which piece of the puzzle that they need to contribute to. Now, speaking more about our network, so most of our specialists hail from the United States, with recently a few hailing from other parts of the world as well. But these specialists that we keep mentioning are spread out throughout the country, and as a result of just their geographical layout as well, they've had such diverse experiences, and that allows us to also tap into different sectors. For example, we found that most people who were specialists in web development tended many times to come from certain parts of the West Coast and stuff like that. And we noticed certain other hubs for other specialist categories that we have. And what this enables us to do is we can work at exactly your pace. These individuals have extensive consulting experience working in freelance capacities for many different companies. So they really used to all different types of projects and are able to work exactly at the pace that's comfortable for you and your business. And so as a result of our customer success managers having an access to such a diverse network, you will be perfectly matched with the individuals that are going to achieve the exact aesthetic at the exact pace and at the exact time that your business needs it. And as you can see, these two pieces of our actual physical team are really key in providing that different experience that you will have a chance to explore if you are a client at PDM. Sunny, can you unmute yourself?
Sorry, I always do this on Zoom calls. But yeah, lastly, it's really about our youth. So, I just want to talk about this really quickly before we move into our offerings and tell you a little bit more about our processes and stuff like that. But just real quick, in terms of our youth, it's a big plus for us, and we find it to be really, really exciting to be able to work in an up and coming industry like digital marketing, like really quickly into our careers, and to be working with such a diverse array of people and doing so. So we're really excited to, to keep going forward and to keep taking risks. Like we said before, I think so if you guys want to, experiment with something new or do something different, we're always on board to try something that has never been done before. And you'll see that in a couple of our offerings. So with that, let's move into some of our main offerings and our processes. So today we just want to talk to you about a couple of our main services and what we provide, and take you through a few examples, because we think it's really the best way for you guys to get an idea of, who we are and how we work as a company. So some of the things that Visal touched on that I just want to kind of clarify as we move into our offerings here is just the overall process. So, basically how it works is we like to take a customer, we like to talk to a client and have a couple of basically consulting calls and see who they are and where they fit in this branding journey that we kind of described to you. From there, they're matched with a customer success manager that is most in line with the type of experience that is necessary to them, in addition to the type of aesthetic and work that they're looking for, as Visal rightly mentioned in a couple of slides ago. So after all of that is kind of figured out and a team is put together, what happens is we go ahead and perform some of these 8 kind of pockets of services that we have here, from website to branding to influencer marketing. So over the next couple of minutes, we just want to take you through how each of those different services look from a Purple Ducks marketing kind of point of view, and how we approach them. And then we want to finish off by talking a little bit about where we're going from here, and and a little bit about our own marketing. So with that, I'll let Visal talk a little bit about website redesign and how we kind of approach that whole aspect of marketing.
A big part of our beginnings as a business and what we saw in many of the clients that we worked with is the need in this day and age for a very highly functional, well thought out website and an overall web presence. And our main goals are to improve SEO and make sure that in whatever target searches that this business wants to appear in on any search engine, that they're as close to the top or at the top of that search list. And how can we make sure to get them there through our web page redesign? And how can we be thoughtful from the very beginning on the little details that make a website more favorable to the search algorithms that consistently change and transform every single day. I think the metric is that Google changes their algorithms almost 6 times every single day. So the landscape is very, very competitive to be that #1 search result. And I know it was a little victory for us when our services slowly started creeping up over the last 6 months of our hard work to make sure that we're at the top of our game. So some examples of companies that we've worked with are, for example, a phone case brand whose logo I have the pleasure of showing you on the next slide. And the phone case brand, we took them through an entire Shopify overhaul and relaunched their brand completely new on the web and on social media, which we'll touch on a little bit later. And as a result, the entire brand image was shifted from being a small Etsy shop to a much larger, much more established professional front to a business. And that really helped customers navigate better and made the existing content on that site more accessible. In this case, this client was in the sales of phone cases, and we completely reorganized their Shopify menus, made it super, super easy for clients to browse by phone model instead of what was in the past, which was they had to search by individual cases and hundreds of listings. So just making the overall process more logical and making the existing whatever is already there just that much more better and easier to access and find on the internet. And next, what's another big part of any brand's journey is obviously logo and just overall branding. And being the branding and operations director, and obviously through seeing the different pieces of our branding puzzle, I think you get a good sense of how seriously we take brand voice and being unique and showing your particular interests through your branding. And these are some examples of logo designs that we've done recently for certain clients. As you can see, they're all very, very diverse, including our very own, which I'm proud to say we had the amazing opportunity. Like I mentioned before, this company is the manifestation of many great friendships and relationships, and that logo is also one of those resulted as a result of one of those friendships. A friend of Sanjana and I's helped us with that one. And yeah, all of our logos we take very, very seriously, because that is that first impression that a brand has with the client when they click on that website or that link that their friend messaged to them. That logo is what is the first interaction that the consumer is having with the brand. So yeah, these are some examples. And yeah, we really, really enjoyed completely transforming each of these brands and made them, I think overall, they were a lot more confident and believed in their brands a lot more as a result of these transformations. And another very important tool for any small business is overall market research. From kind of taking a deeper dive in and auditing their SEO and how well they're positioned to appear at the top of that algorithm, to social media analytics on how many conversions we're getting from a promoted post to their website, and how many of those interactions are actually resulting in sales. So preparing those reports and preparing those analytics in a robust format, while at the same time making these market research deliverables like super easy to understand, is something that we take a lot of pride in. And we will provide anything from competitive analysis to focus groups, and really help you get a much better understanding of your market, which is something that we have seen can change in a split second, especially with recent happenings with the pandemic. So this is something that most small businesses usually do not have very easy access to. And through our network, we're able to provide such like a robust service that's usually reserved for much larger businesses at a very accessible level. And Sanjana will take you through another important piece of this service puzzle.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Visal rightly said, when it comes to things like market research, it's really important to really make sure that the analytics that are available to small businesses are very clear. Again, I can point to a couple of conversations that I've had over the past week where we really talked about how social media and digital advertising can really sometimes feel like a dark chasm of, just numbers and posts and all of these different things. So we really take a lot of pride in, like, as Visal said, making sure that those analytics come through really clearly and also transfer into leads. So taking that information and transferring it really further into something that is tangible. So, I think the beauty of digital marketing as a field is that we're not necessarily letting go of some of those older what is considered older marketing techniques, whether it be print media, call centers, email marketing, whatever that be, but more so just bringing it into the future, or bringing it into a more technologically savvy space where we can track all of those things better and really transfer them into leads much faster. So that's one of our big goals when it comes to lead generation overall. So, what we do with lead generation can range from anything from a call center, from a landing page, just like making sure that the website has a very clean landing page where all the business can really sit, to actually putting together an entire call center, which is what we did for one of our clients named Belong Home, which is a great real estate company out of the Bay Area in California. So we actually, within just a couple of weeks, set up an entire call center for them that was 100% remote, with a couple of kind of students and young professionals, and also members who had a lot of cold calling experience. And we actually were able to increase their leads by, I think we increased them by a double-digit percentage. I don't have the number in front of me, I'm so sorry, but a double-digit percentage within the first 3 weeks of having the call center started. So that was a really exciting opportunity. And I think it goes to show how, like I said before, that merriment of older and really tried and true marketing procedures, in addition to more digital tracking with landing pages and things like that, can really help us to figure out where these leads are coming from and capitalize on them more. So what happened from there is, as we understood how the geographic tracking of the call centers led to the actual clicking on the landing pages, we were able to geotag the ads a lot further and make them a lot clearer, like overall, not only for this presentation, but for this company, I apologize, not only for this company, but just going forward. That's something that we really like about the way that our company is set up, is that we're able to really go back and forth and see how everything works between older lead generation techniques and newer lead generation techniques. So that kind of leads me to another new lead generation technique that we use a lot, which is influencer marketing. So Michelle, if you want to click over. With influencer marketing, we also think that this is a really big plus for us. Again, this is a relatively newer lead generation technique, as it uses the market that is already available and uses conversations that are already happening to make sure that those conversations are pivoted towards a specific brand. So this specific brand here is, this specific conversation here would have to do with any brand that works within a specific group of people. So let me just explain what that means, right? So for example, if Caseland, which is the phone case company that you saw on the other slide and the logo and digital revamping that we did for them, if Caseland wants to reach out to a specific audience, they can run an ad on Instagram. Alternatively, what they can do is have people like me or Vishal or Sanjana or anyone within our kind of age range talk about all of the various benefits of this type of company and the great products that they show on our social media. Because when it comes from an influencer, when it comes from someone who you trust, you're more willing to talk about it, right? So it's just capitalizing on that really clean and simple concept, but putting it on a much larger scale. So we work with a company called Zfluence that has a reach to almost 3 million students worldwide and Zfluence members. And so we're really able to target that conversation a lot more cleanly and make sure that those leads are much more organic and they're not just an advertisement that someone is clicking through. So we really enjoy working with this type of a space here, and we found some great kind of results with this kind of a work. So next, I want to also talk about social media, which is one of our main places or one of our main focuses when it comes to digital marketing overall, and what most people think about when they think social media. When they think digital marketing. I'm tripping over my words today, I apologize. But when you think digital marketing, you think social media usually. And yes, it is a very important part of what we do. But as we've seen through the rest of this presentation, it is not the only thing that we do. So with social media, we do a couple of things. We can take an older kind of more established social media account like Caseland that you can see here, and we took their account from a 49K following to a 54.5K following in just a few short weeks, which was really exciting for us to do. And we can work to kind of rebrand a brand that has already been very established on a social media front and start new conversations and enrich older conversations. On the other end, we can also work to start completely new Instagram accounts and social media accounts, as we've done with Just Practice Inc., which is a client of ours that has launched quite recently. So with Just Practice, you can see that the feed is very new, and actually within the first 24 hours, we were able to get them 100 followers, which is what you see here, and they're still growing actually, which is really exciting for us to see. So it's starting a couple of new conversations. In addition to just posting and getting those followers, for us, we go a lot past that, and we really work with engagement and impressions and advertising, as it's all very important. So if you do have the time and feeling so inclined, you can definitely go take a look at some of these accounts and see that there is a clear difference in the impressions that happened after Purple Ducks Marketing kind of takes over some of their social media accounts there. Because what we want to do is really make sure, as I mentioned, a little bit earlier, is make sure that we're actually evolving with our conversation in what the client is looking for, not only the client of Purple Ducks Marketing, but the larger client of the media, who is the media and the audience who is interacting with these various accounts. So that's kind of our big goal with social media here. And we've also run a couple of ads for these various companies and done some great analytics for them. So we're continuing to grow here, and we see it very similar to like kind of an SEO sort of field where you want to stay really fresh in people's minds over and over again. And that's kind of our goal with social media overall. So that kind of ends our offerings. And I want to talk a little bit now about just where we're going as a company and a little bit about what are some of our catalysts to where we've gone. So one of the main things that has really helped us as a part of our conception is really COVID-19. So as a result of this really crazy and unprecedented times, we've been able to do a lot of cool things that maybe we would not have gotten the opportunity to do before. So firstly, it's connecting with this huge audience of people and huge network of people and audience of people that we maybe would not have been able to connect with if it weren't for this, for this crazy time period that we live in. So Vishal talked a little bit about the international and national network that we have as a result of this great company that we started. So, I think that that's really a catalyst of what COVID-19 has done for us, because we were able to reach a large audience of people who were looking for work and who were looking for opportunities, and help them to understand, how they can help a larger audience by working with Purple Ducks marketing. So that has been really exciting for us. Secondly, we are able to use our talents more creatively overall. So, I think that before COVID-19, there was a lot of kind of the same sort of marketing that you can see and the same sort of tactics. So with the state of the economy and the state of the world, we, as well as the rest of the world, were forced to be more creative. And that's something that we really take pride in as a part of this company, that kind of creative nature of PDM. And we really owe that a lot to this catalyst. And lastly, with the ever-changing nature of the world, we as a company have really committed to much more shorter term sprints when it comes to projects. So again, I can point to a conversation I had very recently when we talked about the idea that usually strategy and stuff is made for 6 months or 3 months, but we at PDM like to keep it only 6 to 8 weeks in strategy, just because that way we can move a lot faster when pivots change or ideas change. So that's really important to us, is to have those short-term sprints and be very kind of agile. I was talking to a professor today who said, you don't want to be an aircraft carrier, you just want to be, you want to be a fighter jet. You want to be able to move agile and change things really easily. So that's really what we want to do here at PDM. And so we keep our sprints really short, but we are able to delight our clients. So we always have some great re-signs and stuff like that, and been able to work with clients for a long period of time. So with all of that being said, I'm going to pass it off to Vishal so we can talk a little bit about where we're going from here and our own branding, and then we'll take some questions.
All right. And I know Sanjana mentioned that we like to work in short-term sprints, and we like structuring not only our projects, but also our planning kind of around a shorter format. That way we feel the effects of that fluidity of the business. But that's not to say that we have no sense of direction for the next 6 to 12 months and where we see the business going. It's just to say that we have a very clear idea of what we want to do over the next 6 to 8 weeks in particular. Now, looking at what we want to do overall, both in the short term and in the long term, first and foremost, we want to improve our sales funnel. We want to make sure that we're taking this personalization to the next level. This company started with just 2 people, and then slowly the team doubled within, I think, 2 to 3 weeks, and then doubled again within the next 2 weeks after that. And we're quickly realizing that this needs to be one of our priorities, because we never want to lose that personalized touch of being on a phone call with a real human being who's sitting there and helping you through your marketing problems from day one of working through PDM. It's not fill in this form. It's a much more personalized experience, and we want to do that by investing more into a dedicated sales and customer acquisition team to help carry out these lofty aspirations that we have for that particular aspect of the company. In addition, I talked about how our central mission is to make these services accessible to clients in a way that they can act on them quickly, easily, and they can afford them. But I wanted, as Sunny and I were talking over the past couple months, we realized that we wanted to take it one step further, and we saw the opportunity to shrink our projects even further. And we talked a lot about clients so far that we've had traditionally who require multiple services across a 6 to 8 week period at least. But we also started to get a lot of organic interests in smaller time clients, specific influencers, specific bloggers, other startups who had not gotten funding yet. And these type of projects and these types of clients were operating on much more lower budgets and still wanted this same level of marketing material to complement their releases of their products or their early stage growth of their business. So through the small project pivot, we wanted to segment our projects even further. And by just restructuring our CSM and marketing specialist relationship, we really believe that we can get these digital marketing solutions into the hands of much more clients by making them a whole lot more financially accessible. And in addition, on that note, we want to continue to take on more and more diverse clients, because like we said before, one thing that we pride ourselves on is our youth. And a big part of that is this willingness and this hunger to learn and to grow. And just as much as these clients benefit from their interactions with us and working with projects and they see growth, we also want to see that as well. And we want to challenge ourselves with bigger and more complex clients. That way we can really test our model and put this whole structure to the test and see what it can really bring for any type of client. And as we naturally expand and get into more volume projects and more complex projects, we want to make sure that we have some pre-planning in place to automate these systems of onboarding and of client acquisition to basically make that sales funnel more efficient and make it easier for our, for example, for our CSMs to find the right marketing specialists, and for our marketing specialists to be easily access their project materials and things like that. So basically just automating all those systems and just establishing a easy workflow during all of these projects is also another key part of our growth looking forward. And on that note, in all, we can not only talk about all of these services, these initiatives, and these goals that we have for clients, we can also show you what we've done on those lines to better our own brand. And when we look at the how marketing has been used at PDM to market ourselves, this is what I'm tasked with on a day-to-day basis and what we're heavily investing time into every single day. It's putting ourselves out there on social media through platforms like Instagram, which led to 2 of our clients, I believe, in just the first couple months. Having a solid web presence and having like robust interfaces for people to express interest, whether they're looking to become a part of the specialist network or to become a potential client, making sure all those sort of that brand voice is continued onto the website and it's also functional like we talked about before. We also have a newsletter and a blog that we publish to regularly to make sure that we're at the top of that SEO list. And we're happy to report that we have seen great success in that SEO improvement with the newsletter and the blog. And in addition, with the newsletter and the blog, we're able to also establish our credibility as a business and really show what we know when it comes to industry knowledge and marketing trends today. And logo and branding overall, as you can see from this presentation, for example, and throughout our other materials, we take our work very, very seriously. And this is the level of work and the level of commitment that we expect from our CSMs and that we expect of ourselves when dealing with any of our clients. So overall, I wanted to thank you all for coming on this 40-ish minute journey with us and really diving deep on what it is that PDM does. Again, this is such a cool opportunity to speak to all of you. And on behalf of Sunny and I, thank you so much again for this opportunity. And I'll let Sunny say a few closing words, but other than that, we'd love to open it up to questions right after that.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for your time. I understand this event technically ends at 7, but we'd love to stick around and answer any questions that you guys might have about PDM. You know, as you have probably seen from the last 40 minutes, Visal and I are very passionate about this particular topic. So if we don't get to any of these questions today, the next slide, Visal, if you actually don't mind, let's just put that slide up there. You guys can go ahead and email us with any of the questions that you might have, and we'd love to talk to you. But Ram, do you think we have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We should have some time for that. I'm sure there's a lot of interest. It's a great topic to be covering for us. And first of all, I want to thank you guys for taking the time and go through this. I think it's, as I mentioned, it's an area of tremendous importance for businesses, large and small. And so it's a rapidly changing landscape that we need to get a better handle on. Every company, whether it is early stage or mid stage, late stage, it's something that we need to always get a better handle on. And actually, tell you the truth, I was getting a little nervous initially because we were spending a lot of time in the intros and the teaming and all that. And I was wondering, when are we going to get to the actual meat, and what are the kinds of things that we want to you'll be able to do. And I think you covered it beautifully in terms of the specific services that you're able to address and help companies with. And I've already gone through some of this with you, Sanjana, so I won't go through all that. And I have more questions, but I will reserve a lot of those questions for now and have others ask. I just have one question. Okay, I'll at the top of mind that comes to my mind at the top of mind. So, yeah, from a business model standpoint, if I understand this right, you are assembling a loose network, if I may say so, of specialists, and this involves combination of things. There is a creative aspect, there is a science and tech when it comes to increasingly more and more tech involved, and making sure that the right hooks are there and the right tools are there, and so on and so forth. And digital in all its forms, the email and social and other forms of digital. And not only that, for a holistic marketing strategy, companies need to merge the analog with the digital also. And you can't really ignore that. So there is that. There's the science and tech. There is the project management aspect, I think, which you covered very well. All of it is, I think, being brought together through a set of specialists that you are choreographing and bringing it together. Now, how does that give assurance to a company that is wanting to get a holistic strategy to get the necessary help in a focused manner? Because I'm trying to get a feel for how are you able to keep that group together and be able to help you on projects. And there has to be some key people that have to be there throughout. They can't just come and go, right? So I'm trying to get a better understanding of how you get a handle on that.
Yeah, Ram, thank you for that question. That's a really great question, and I think it really speaks to the root of PDM. So you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, we don't ask for PDM members to only work on PDM just because we feel that marketing is a very collaborative space. So we want to really encourage for that kind of collaboration to happen even outside of PDM. But with that being said, you're absolutely correct in the fact that at the end of the day, there needs to be some sort of an anchor when it comes to projects and when it comes to the integrity of the company. So for that reason, we really ask for, that's why we have our customer success managers in place. So at the end of the day, it really comes down to a couple of things, right? So firstly, the customer success managers are there to really to coordinate between the marketing specialists and the client to ensure that there is, like a good way to, there's a good communication way, right? So whether you need a deliverable very quickly, or you want to have a strategy meeting or whatever that may be, you have a centralized point of contact that is only focused on your client. On your company. So that's really, really important, first of all. Secondly, when it comes to the marketing specialists themselves, there's definitely going to be that question of, okay, well, are they passionate about my company the way that the CSM is, and the way that Sanjana and Visal are, and the way that, I am as the company owner? So with that, I think it really comes down to a couple of things. Firstly, we do have some, like a contractual obligation for all of our marketing specialists. So that's anyway there, and there's anyway the financial motivation, as they're all, they are well paid and things like that. But furthermore, past that, we do have a pretty rigorous screening process for each of our marketing specialists. So they went through an application process and several interviews, not only with myself and Visal, but all people within our core team, like as I mentioned, the CSMs and some of our main team members to ensure that they are passionate about this type of a project work, and then also kind of further certifies that not only are they here for the money, not only are they here for the experience, but they're here because this is something that they care about. And we really hope to show that throughout this entire presentation. If you are so inclined to go, take a look at our website or our Instagram, that's really what we want to show, is that it's a conversation. It's a two-way conversation between the specialists and ourselves to ensure that everybody is really putting the same amount of focus into the overall project, in addition to that centralization of your account manager, in addition to the financial kind of compensation that is involved. We want to also hold our CSMs and our marketing specialists personally to a higher standard than what is really involved in the business. And so we hope that also really helps to solidify that trust when it comes to what the clients put in us. And so far, we have seen a great amount of success in that with the clients that we worked with, and we hope to continue to see that kind of success there.
Okay. Satyajit, you want to elaborate on your question? I think this is one of the topics we talked about yesterday. It's not one size fits all. These numbers and metrics and deal sizes and conversion rates and these things change from industry to industry, and the behavior is different from industry to industry: healthcare, education, retail, telecom, and whatnot. So I guess the question Satyajit is asking is, are you specializing some of these verticals, or you're covering all of them? Is that right, Satyajit? Satyajit, are you there?
Yes, Ram. I'm sorry. Sometimes I have one way audio problem. Yes, you summarized it very well. Thank you.
So, did you get that, Vishal, Sanjana?
Yeah. One more time, could you repeat? So he said, are we basically specializing in any particular sector? Okay.
Yes.
And yeah, to answer that question, that's really the beauty of having a rigorous but kind of efficient and well thought out kind of process to acquire new marketing specialists. So even if there is a field in which we currently have zero experience in, which is very rare considering that we have 30 people across the country and around the world who have worked in some cases like 20 plus years in various different sectors, if we somehow don't have somebody ready to go on our first meeting, our CSMs have a really good and ready understanding of who is in our specialist network. So they'll immediately be able to also recommend, oh, we currently don't have somebody that I think particularly fits this, but there's somebody on our short list that we were considering pursuing to add them to our network, and this is that person. So that's their job, really, that customer success manager. Their job is to not only focus on the projects that they have, but also before the project begins, really make sure that we're prepared for as diverse of a client portfolio as possible. And over the past 6 months, they really have shown their ability to do that, along with our help with that as well.
And let me also add on to that really quickly. I think Vishal really nicely summed up the fact about how we have a really nice and pretty malleable overall marketing specialist network. And I think the word loose, Ram, I think is very correctly used in the sense because we have that ability to kind of grow or shrink as needed. But what's further interesting about our model is that, like Ram correctly said, we kind of spoke about this a little bit yesterday, is that we don't really feel the need to specialize in one sort of sector in that way and say, okay, we're going to have this CSM only trained to work with tech companies. And there's a couple of reasons that we do that. So first off, let me just start off by saying that I really acknowledge, and Vishal and I really acknowledge, the importance of having some specialization and some experience when it comes to certain tech sectors, right? So a potential client for a tech company is going to be very different from a potential client for a phone case company. So that really goes into what Vishal is talking about with that idea of making sure that that talent and that experience is always there and always present in any project that is happening with a specific sector. But furthermore, like we mentioned before, we really feel that marketing is a collaborative environment. So, we don't want to do exactly what every single other tech company is doing. There's definitely some things that we need to do, and there's some important knowledge that we need about that sector. But maybe there's a real estate company, right, that's doing something that is very interesting and getting them a lot of leads. Like they put up a call center and it's working really well for them. We don't want to only focus on the solutions that are available to your sector. We want to focus on the solutions that are available to any sector and see if it would work. So in that way, it really speaks to our creativity overall too. So we want to take that experience that we have with, in this vertical kind of process with our network, but we also want to take creative options and opportunities from other sectors and see if we can use them. So that way, your brand and your kind of branding journey really stands out in a way that other sectors really don't.
And overall, kind of the same way that right now, employers are expecting college students to come out of school as more holistic individuals who have a much more well-rounded kind of experience. Just think of it in the same way like that. When you're a client at PDM, you know that you're dealing with a very well-rounded company that has experience in many different sectors and will actively draw on those different experiences to address like your specific problems.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I also wanted to take a moment to address maybe your second question as well, where you're referring to kind of like the Uber of marketing. I never really thought about it that way, but when you mentioned that, the thing I will say to kind of modify that little model would be, think of it like Uber, but also having regional managers who specialize in specific things and know where all the drivers are at all times. That way they can get you the driver that's closest to you, that is probably gonna mesh with your personality the best. So I could go on with this analogy, but I think you get the sort of increased level of personalization that you're getting with this sort of a network.
And I'm sorry, Vishal and I have this kind of thing where we jump off of each other constantly and work off each other's things, which is why we have a great partnership, but maybe not as good of a Q&A session. But let me just add one thing here that Vishal really said. Satyajit, we really love your analogy of that Uber, now that I think about it more. The other thing that it really brings to light is our kind of long-term vision that me and Ram sort of discussed a little bit yesterday as well, which is that at the end of the day, where we see PDM going is not always kind of working on these projects for small businesses in this kind of very segmented way as we're doing right now, though it is something that we really love and we want to continue to do. But furthermore, we want to create a larger kind of marketplace for all small businesses and startups to really quickly and easily get that sort of need, that sort of experience and marketing need and fulfill any marketing needs that they have. So in some ways it is like an Uber, because we want to make sure that it's more than just, Sanjana and Visal, two college students, just kind of like we're putting this network together. We want to really create a larger kind of international marketplace for this type of work to happen. And I think that this is where we start. And as Visal said, it all comes down to segmenting and breaking down the projects as small as possible and growing the network as big as possible and things like that. So in a utopian PDM world, it's something close to Uber with, as Vishal said, a couple of regional managers and a couple more people in between you and the driver, just giving you some oversight and personalization there. So you have the best conversation on the ride over or something like that.
Excellent. Yeah, I would say Uber, where the driver actually cares about getting you where you want to go in a safe way.
Exactly. That's perfect.
I think I might have to.
That in our next
in some cases,
yeah.
In some cases can also tell you this is where you should be going.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. I think Vishal, let's make a note of that. That's going to be our next Instagram post. We love that. Thank you so much.
It was very exciting, guys. The excitement is obvious. Is obviously coming through. The passion is coming through, and this can consume you. This can be so intense, and if it works, are you guys going to stay in school? And you're going to learn so much more than what your professors are going to teach you in each of. No offense to either of your universities, but there's going to be so much learning. But maybe that answer can come later once you get past the stage. But kind of piggybacking on that, what thought have you given, or is it too early to say? Are you looking at investments and growth, and what thoughts have you given to that?
So yeah, thanks so much. That's really kind of you to say, Ram. And I can't lie when I have the thought of dropping out of school has crossed my mind when it's final season and it's 3 o'clock in the morning. But you know, me and Vishal are both children of immigrant parents, so I don't think that's going to be the truth anytime soon. I don't think that's going to happen for us, fortunately or unfortunately. But to answer your question of sorry, can you repeat your question? I want to make sure I answered correctly.
So it's a two-part question. So one is what you just now answered, which is, yeah, you are very passionate about it, but you're going to stay and try to finish it. But seriously, from a growth standpoint, at some point you might want to seek outside funding, right? And where is it? And where are you on that journey? Are you at that stage now, or are you going to get to that sometime down the line this year? What's your thought?
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of our kind of funding situation, you know, we are profit positive right now, and we're growing at a pretty steady rate. So a lot of, I think, our growth is going to come from the growth of our network and the growth of the clients that we work with. So we haven't really thought about any ways, any like kind of financial investment as of right now, though we are definitely open to any suggestions that you guys might give us. I think more so what we're looking for right now is to grow in the sense of experience and to grow in the sense of the breadth and depth of clients that we work with. But you know, if you guys have any suggestions in terms of a financial pivot, Vishal and I are happy to kind of set up another call and kind of talk about that a little bit further. We're open to anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was Satyaj's next question. That the exact right question that was, how can we help you? I mean, what do you need from us? What do you like? I think you kind of addressed that. Anything more you want to add to that? I think the people here on the call are all great contacts for you to have, and see how some of us might be interested in something, things that you offer. But through our connection, maybe there are others that can be brought forward as customers. But anything else? What else would you be looking for?
I think in all we've.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I think in all, like above and beyond, like what Sanjana mentioned, I think what we're also looking for is people to, and the way we kind of look at it is we set up this model and we spend a lot of time coming up with it, and we think of it as like we've been testing and tweaking this model over the past 6 months in an iterative kind of way, in a way that like a tech company works on, like a consumer tech product. And so as far as how you can help us, we've sort of outlined how we plan to iterate over the next short and long term. And you know, we're open to any and all like suggestions and mentorship and your guidance as well, and your experience, because we've learned from the experience of some of our marketing specialists and of our CSMs and stuff like that. So in any and all ways possible, we're looking for not only clients, as Sunny mentioned, but also those to help us like test our model, try to, like you've done today, like ask us questions, poke holes in it, help us to make sure that we have something really rock solid that we can continue to run with. So yeah, appreciate the help. You know, you guys being here is a huge help in all in itself. But yeah, that like continued mentorship has been really helpful from numerous sources over the past 6 months.
Okay, I want to ask the audience questions. Anybody? Deepthi, Vandana, Vinod, Sangeeta.
Hi, Sanjana, and hi, Vishal. Excellent presentation and very well, presented information. But I have one question that I run a preschool here in Dallas, and it's pretty much marketing is, limited to 5 to 6 miles area, which is where, parents come from and they come and drop their kids. So what kind of suggestions would you make for a company like that?
That's a great question, Percy. I'm sorry, Preeti. It's so nice to meet you and to hear from you.
Yeah.
That's That's very kind of you. So in terms of working with that type of a smaller sort of radius, I think it has a lot to do with from a digital point of view, a lot of like geotagging and geographical work. But I think more so what PDM would recommend to you is to do a lot more event-based marketing and community-based marketing. We can run ads and we can do all those digital things, but at the end of the day, your audience is very close to you. So I think really honing in on that community, whether it be, like I said, events or targeted advertising or targeted calling, I would really suggest more things like that. Uses of things, I'm sure you're already doing this, but uses of platforms like Nextdoor and really targeted Facebook and stuff like that is something that we would recommend of doing from there. Does that kind of
we are definitely doing all these Google SEO things, Facebook, and and within our 5 to 7 miles radius, we kind of advertise ourselves. But one something you talked about influencers. What kind of what is that in your presentation, right?
So, for example, like when we talk about influencer marketing, we cited the example of a phone case brand that was very much catered towards young adults around like our age, but so as a result, we used young adult influencers to market that specific product. So in your case, with a much smaller radius, I don't think we will have the need for influencers, because it'll be very hard to find influencers of a kind of parent sort of age, and then also couple that with like a very small radius. Whereas the case brand was something that's like an international operation with a huge thing. But as far as like a different type of quote unquote influencer marketing that we could do for you would involve contacting like parents and those in the community that are more fit to your specific like target audience, and maybe even setting up some sort of campaign where existing parents of existing children that come to your school talk about their experiences and how much the school has helped their child and their family, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with what Vishal is saying. I think the whole concept of kind of influencer marketing is very similar to community-based marketing. At the end of the day, it's about hearing from your own community. So, influencers, the great thing about them is that they have a very wide reach. But if it's very community-based in general is what we're trying to market, it more so makes sense to do more of a referral-based program or an affiliate-based program where we're already talking to people who are within the community and within your daycare's community and trying to grow it from there. So parenting groups, like not only using Nextdoor, but also really targeting like Facebook parenting groups, Nextdoor parenting groups. There's also like big Instagram parenting groups these days that are popping up in places. So I think like focusing on those and focusing on the things that your daycare center does to not only bring in the, the great kind of daycare aspects and childcare aspects, but grow community values would be big. So if you're focusing on a 5 to 7 mile radius for your thing, it's what is this daycare center doing for the community, right? That like other daycare centers 45 minutes away aren't doing. So we focus on those aspects, and instead of reaching out to like 1,000 influencers that are very, very far away, we would instead kind of do more of a what Vishal and I would categorize as a door-to-door marketing in air quotes, because obviously we're not going to go door-to-door, but rather we're going to be very kind of like focused in who we're talking to and who we're targeting.
Oh, that's really, really great. So let me, I'll take your emails and I'll, shoot you an email. Then we can talk about it, how we can, kind of how you guys can help me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, so you can email any of the emails on the screen over here, and we'd love to be in contact with you and talk to you a little bit further. Do we have a time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions before we wrap up here? I know we're kind of
yeah, probably last couple of questions. Yeah. Anybody else? Feel free, open up your mics. Whoever wants to ask a question. Looks like We covered it all very well.
Cool.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to say this like presentation is very, very much like clearer to me now that I'm, I'm coming on as a marketing specialist too. Now that, you guys presented this and made more sense of like, what PDM is and what they do and how, the segments are all connected together. So thank you for that.
Awesome. I'm so glad that, so that you could be a part of our company here, especially because we know each other from before. So it's all about, for me and Vishal, it's all about bringing more of our friends into the company. So I'm so happy that you were able to enjoy this presentation, even though you're already on board with this company. And I'm so excited to see, where our future collaboration will take us as well. So thank you so much for the kind words. I'm so excited for the future here.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm sorry, somebody said something?
I think they left.
Somebody was saying something.
Yeah, they left.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
No, I think still there.
No, it was from Vandana's phone, but they're not.
Vandana's phone.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. If there are no other questions, I just want to thank you all again, and excellent job, guys, and good luck, and stay in touch. And we'll be talking. I'm sure there'll be folks reaching out to you for things that you can help them with. And have a good rest of the evening, and we'll talk later.